question, First Lady Fernandez. You mentioned a few things about bullying and being picked on in high school and your mom passing away. So with all of those variables, a lot of young people face those challenges but have to keep plugging away. You know, you go to school and, I mean, I had things written on my locker, but you still have to go to school anyway. So if you could just speak to the audience a little bit about that, just your self-esteem and those things that played an impact in it.
I wish that I had the attitude I have now in high school, but I'm much older now and much wiser. What I can tell you, no, I didn't have high self-esteem, not at all. I did not think that I was a groupie. We were just in the middle, you know, we were doing our thing, we had our own friends, you know, we weren't trying to be with the known people, and we, you know, we talked to, like this young lady said, you know, if people talk to us, we talk to everybody else. But there clearly were lines drawn when I was in high school, and you guys would have been in hot pursuit in my day, because that's what at the time was considered very attractive. And if you were brown skinned, you had to have long hair and you had to be petite to be considered attractive. You know, and that's just what was, you know, considered, you know, attractive by the boys at the time. But what I can just tell you is that regardless of your circumstance, you really have to have an idea of what you want to do with yourself, because you never know what life is going to throw your way. You never know what challenges may come your way. You never know what monkey wrench might be thrown in the plan. You know, you might think that, you know, you're going to graduate and this is going to be this, and your parents are always going to be there. And, you know, God forbid something could happen and all of a sudden your parents aren't there. And now you got to go live with your uncle. And you don't want to go live with your uncle, and you don't understand why you got to switch high schools and all this kind of thing. So I really encourage you that in the midst of all of that, whether it's, you know, something happens that kind of throws you for a loop, or whether it's bullying, you really have to believe in your heart of hearts who you are. You really have to have a goal. You really have to have a dream, and you really have to seek out for yourself how to make that happen. You know, if you have parents that aren't supportive, that aren't helping you, you got guidance counselors, you got teachers, you really need to find out. You got people at your churches, you've got youth leaders, people that you may know through your sport events, coaches, things like that, but you need to reach out and you need to find out how can you get from A to B, from B to C. And you need to make that happen for yourself.
All right, everyone. Can I have your attention, please? The time is drawing nigh, and so just to kind of recap, we talked a lot of different things. Their high school experience, positive and negative, impact of family, friends, some that weren't friends. We talked about self-esteem. And we didn't have the opportunity to touch upon each of your professions, but I just wanted to know if anyone in the audience had a question, whether it's about their experience or, for example, Sister Michelle Dumas, please raise your hand. She's a legal analyst. Tanya Lamar, please raise your hand. She works for the State Department. Cynthia Brown, she's Vice President, Bank of America, and our very own First Lady, Cheryl Fernandez, is a nurse. So, and they have a wealth of experience prior to even these professions. But I just wanted to know if anyone out there had a question that we could ask before we wrap up our panel. Yes. And please speak loud.
Can I
that's fine, that's fine. You can direct it to one in particular, or you could say you want all of them to answer, that's fine. But definitely speak loud if you can. Excellent. So the question is, if you can tell us in a minute or so, what made you get into the profession that you're in right now?
For me, I was an executive. I was started out as an administrative assistant. That was one of my first jobs. Then I got a promotion to an executive assistant, and I did that for a number of years. And I realized in that job, it was a good job. I got paid decent money, but there were no career ladders. I worked for the state, so I had good benefits. I had a nice pension, but there was nowhere to go. And I got to the point where I said, you know what, I'm too young to do this for the rest of my life. I need to figure out a career. I want a job where I go in, I know what I'm supposed to do, and I do it. And there's nobody handing me paperwork and, you know, did you do this and did you do that and where's my this and where's my that. So I had been working part-time for years in a hospital, and so I had been around nurses. My mom was a nurse, and that's kind of how I ended up being.